But we've already covered a lot of this, so you won't have to write a lot. All right, probability living with the odds. We haven't covered odds yet. We're going to cover that next.
No.
And outcomes, an event. An outcome is what happens when you have an event. Okay? Write down the event is flipping a coin. The outcome is heads or tails. You don't have to write that long definition because that long definition nobody's going to memorize. But an example would be, an outcome would be the heads or the tails. The event would be flipping the coin. Okay? So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I won't test you on that.
Sorry.
They still have an avalanche up there in Pendleton, or is it Easley? Which one?
It's bouncing.
It's bouncing between both of them.
Well, we hear it at Easley, so.
Okay. Make sure, I think I gave you the sample space of boy, girl, I mean, two kids and 3 kids. Did I give you all that?
No.
I thought I did. That might have been the other
Well, you
class.
thought wrong.
Let me get out of that. See if we can waste some time here, because it is Friday. I really don't want to be here. But anyway, let's go and look up sample.
You don't want to be here.
Sample set for 2 cheering. How you spell cheering? Cheering.
Sharon?
Cheering.
Like Ed Sheeran?
Sharon.
Oh yeah, these people that come from Powdersville and Greenville, they don't know how to say it. That's children. Okay. I don't see it. They don't put it up there. I thought I pulled that up with y'all. Y'all sure I didn't?
Yeah.
No, we sure. You did not. It's supposed to be your favorite class. What's going on?
Well, y'all are the most talkative class for 2 people or 3 people. It does not include all of the Pendleton campus because they just sit there winged on.
You're gonna leave Pendleton alone now.
I can't even spell.
How many times are you going to type that in?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, there's one. I didn't show y'all that.
No, for the 3rd time.
Okay, see? She's going to make a good wife.
What?
Thank for the 3rd time. Gotta stab it in there. Gotta turn it a little bit. Let's go with, here's the other one. I'm just going to pull these up right quick for you. So you'll, the reason I want you to write them down is because they're a pain in the rear to try to think about. The one for 4 is not that bad. But the one for 3 or 2, the one for 3 is aggravating. So, and that's the ones I test you on. So I'll go ahead and pull those up for you, and you can write them down. There's one. I bet it didn't save.
Hold on.
Move that over. That's for 3 children. All you have to write down is this side over here. You don't have to write the tree. Just write down the right side right there. Let's see. Can I do this?
Thank you. Sorry. Very healthy for
I can't crop, can I? I ain't had training on this thing, so. No.
Why would you?
Huh?
You can make a
Use
poster.
scissors on a poster.
We got an hour of technology in the classroom. We got an hour to use it. There we go. There's the other. Okay, I thought it was boy, girl, but it's the same thing. And it's good that you write for heads, tails, because I think there's a problem in your homework that does the heads and tails. So There's heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, and tails, tails. Now do that also with girl, boy. And write that on your sheet. So you have 3 sample sets there. The first sample set, if I can do this, dang old rectangle.
Can't see.
There's the first sample set. Second sample set is right there. And the third sample set would be boy, 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 girl, girl, boy, girl, girl. And those are the 3 that I would test you on. So I would ask you a question. What is the probability of having one girl with 3 children? And you would go, okay, one girl. There's one girl. There's one girl. There's one girl. And I thought there was one more. Nope. So what is the probability of having one girl with 3 children?
1/3.
3 out of what?
9.
Should be 8.
8.
Wait, I'm not reading right today, apparently.
3, 8.
Mm-hmm. So also make sure we'll put the other 2 children. Let's see. Boy, boy. Boy, girl. Girl, boy. And girl, girl. So I might ask you, what is the probability of 2 girls with 2 children? And you would say 1/4 or 0.25. So hopefully y'all understand those type of questions. Oh, there's one more. There's one more I want to pull up for you. And the only reason I'm pulling these up is so you won't have to actually think about it, because it takes more time to think about it than it does to actually do the problem.
I'll just email you.
Say again?
I'll just email you.
10 or 11 times.
I don't
Probably
know.
13.
Okay. Keep it interesting.
What is she talking about? What are
Send
y'all
her
talking about?
asking
I
a
said I'll
question
just
about the
email
problem.
you.
The homework.
Well, we're not in answer questions. Be quiet. All right. Now let's do one more, and that one is sample set space, sample space, dice. And this one is one you don't have to write it down. And I like to do the one that's highlighted. That's the one that's highlighted. That's the one I like. Save image. Pull up white. I'm sorry I hadn't had training on this whiteboard. So it over. And you write this down because they will ask you this question also. And I thought I pulled this up the other day. It might have been the 120 class. I can't remember.
Wow.
Okay, that's 2 die, or 2 dice. So make sure you know that one. They'll ask you, what is the probability of rolling an 8? And the highlighted, or rolling an 8, you would have to find the 8s, which would be 2 plus 4, and you'd have to find those. Or you could say, what is the probability of rolling a 5? Or what is the probability 2 dice? And of course, the denominator would be 36, because 6 times 6 is 36. So what is the probability of rolling a 2? Snake eyes.
1 over 36.
Okay. What is the probability of rolling a 1 on a pair of dice?
0.
Thank you. That is a trick question, and it's a thinking question, and if I gave it to 30 people, 10 people would get it wrong. What is the probability of rolling a 13?
0.
Good job. 0. Remember, I told you, probability is not how good you are at math. Probability is how good you are at what? Reading. Reading and interpreting and using a little bit of context / common sense.
No, then I fail.
That's why some of y'all suck at it. All right. Any questions on that one? Now, all of these that we pulled up, you have 4 sample spaces. Some people call them sample sets. When you are asked, what is the probability of having 2 boys with 2 children? Now you can just go to that sample space instead of trying to figure it out. Same thing with the 3 children, same thing with the heads and tails, same thing with the 2 die. Now, I do this with all my probabilities because I don't want you having to spend time on a question writing all this out. Write it on an index card. You need 4, well, not 4 index cards. You could put 2 of them on one and then 2 on the other. You had 2 big index cards, and you would have them. But I'm only talking to maybe 1 or 2 people that's actually going to do that. Okay. Well, y'all can finish filling it out. You don't need to copy it. You can figure out the pattern. Okay? I don't think I have to do that. All right. So let's get back to the handy dandy slides. Well, I can make sure I have covered everything from this section. All right. So that's how you do that question right there. 2 children. List all the possible outcomes for the birth order of boys and girls. And that's called a sample space right there. Okay, that's very important. And I think I've already told you this, but all of probability is based on the number 1. That's the scale, and that scale is very important. Make sure you understand it, that everything we do in probability is done in decimal form or fraction form between 0 and what? That means a probability cannot be what? 2 things. What can they not be?
Negative.
Greater than 1 or
less than.
Or
Negative.
Exactly. Less than 0. So write that down because that's part of the test that you have to, I give you a question on the test. And the question is in chart form. And it gives you a bunch of fractions, gives you a bunch of decimals, and a bunch of whole numbers. And they all should equal 1. And 2 of them's got a negative number. So you automatically knock that group out because it's got a negative number in it. So we'll see that in the homework. This is irritating me. This is turn around. Somebody turn around. OCD. So make sure you write this, and I think I showed y'all that, but I'm not sure. You got to remember, when I teach the 103 and the 120 and the 120, sometimes I get y'all mixed up. So.
That's hurtful. That's mixed up.
They always got to say something, just like a female. Always gotta say the last word.
Well, I mean, you did complain about us being too quiet.
Oh, boom.
That interaction and getting in the last word is not the same thing.
Yes, it is.
Interaction is when, tomato, tomato. Last word is, I don't like what Miss Jeter does. All right, let's see what we got here. I think she is too. She says she's been eating candy. I think she's been eating meth. All right. What? Number of ways A can occur. She didn't hear that.
I'm about meth. It's okay.
Yeah, you know those Pop Rocks? You know those suckers that's made out of candy? You know, they go long piece of candy. The Miss Jeter, all her candy is white. All right. So, number of ways A can occur. Total number of outcomes. I've already given you this. I told you it was the number of things that happen over the number of events. You can put it however you want to. I told you, what is the probability of picking a king out of a deck of cards? You said 1 out of 52. What is the probability of a 6 on a die? 1 out of 6. So whether you actually rolled the die or if you know that's different. That's called Mayberry probability, theoretical probability based on the mathematics, and physical probability, which is classical probability, that's based on actually doing it. And those two are not going to equal unless you do them 100,000 times, and then they may equal. So you don't have to write that whole page down, just write that right there. And that's the way probability is written, P of A. Okay, apply the theoretical method to find the probability of one head when you toss 2 coins. Well, you know that you got exactly 1 head if you toss 2 coins. Okay, that's the one I just told you. You know, I told you to write that one down. There it is, right there. You got girl, 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 boy, boy, girl, boy, boy. It's the same thing. So write that. You don't have to write that down, but write down the question. Exactly 1 head when you toss 2 coins. So I've got 1 head there and 1 head there. This is the same question as 1 girl from 2 children or 1 boy with 2 children. Same question. Getting a 3 when you roll a 6-sided die, that's 1 out of 6. These questions B will all be 1 out of 6 because each side has a different number on it. So whether it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, all those are going to be 1, 6. So you actually have to know the material that you're flipping or you're picking from. And which is the worst one? The cards. Because believe it or not, there are people in the world that don't know anything about a deck of cards. So you got to make sure you know about a deck of cards. I'll show you something funny right quick because, again, I don't feel like teaching today. And we'll put called Soldier's Bible deck of cards. Now I know this has the word Bible in it, and I'm sorry, but you say Bible, somebody will be offended. Even though it's a historical book, nobody says anything when it's a historical book. Look that up and you can read it. And I can't find it right now, but it's I think it's one like this right there. You can pull that up. You can pull it up right there. Or you can I'm trying to find one you can actually read. And I don't know why they go to this side over here, and then you have to pull up the website. Why can't they just pull up the dadgum? It used to be you click on something and you just pull it up. Now you got to go to a website. So let me just put it deck of cards. Now let me pull it up. It used to not have this. Damn Russians. They go hollering at Joe, telling him to get the hell out. Creepy Joe walks in the hotel. Everybody said, "Get the hell out." That's funny. Creepy Joe, don't even know what state he's in. All right. I thought that was funny. And that's going to be too small. There it is. So it tells you the how to remember a deck of cards. and I would try to blow it up a little bit more, but
Could you do that?
I'm
Appreciate that.
trying, but you're not gonna be able to see the whole thing. So you're gonna have to do something that not a lot of people do, and that's actually go outside of class and pull it up yourself and hit the print button, you know. So there it is.
Can you play it on YouTube?
No, because then somebody will say it's preaching, so we can't do that. All right, so anyway, you know, there's how many quarters are there in a year? There's 4 quarters in a year. There's 4 suits. You know, and it goes through and it makes all, there's 52 cards. How many weeks is there in a year?
52.
52. And it goes through all of that. And some people think it's cool, and some people don't pull it up because they like to say ignorant. I don't know. But anyway, that's it. It shows I'm trying to find one. There it is. There's 1 ace. There's 1 god. Okay. There's 2 colors. The 2 colors stands for the 2 books in the Bible. There's 4 suits, or 3 something. You just have to read it. Okay. I'm not going to go through all of that because then somebody will say I'm preaching, and then ACLU will get involved and all that. I don't feel like it. Okay. So look that up. And therefore, some of you that's never laid a finger on a deck of cards because it's gambling, then you can read that, and it won't be as bad as gambling, okay? Oh, listen, I've had some people tell me they didn't even know what the suits are. So, you know, you just have to look that up. Hopefully y'all can find it, because I'd probably be better if you just pulled it up as right there. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. It's a song, too. So.
Will you sing it?
By Tex Ritter
No.
by Hank Williams.
It's by Tex Ritter. Yeah, Tex Ritter wrote it. Bill Anderson made it famous, though. Now, for some of y'all that know real country music, the Whisperer, Bill Anderson, he actually made it very popular back in the, I don't know if it's 40s during the war or the 50s, one of those two. But anyways, it's kind of an interesting story to read. It's a story, okay? I didn't say you had to go out and do any crazy religious stuff. I just said it's a story. Okay? All right. So let's go back to where's my PowerPoint? So if I ask you, now this is where the reading comes in. If I ask you, what is the probability of a face card? There's 12 face cards in the deck. So that would be 12 out of what? 52. Everybody with me?
Yeah.
And you got to be able, there's 13 spades, because each suit has 13, don't call it tricks, 13 cards, okay? Each one has 13 cards. So a spade has 13, a heart has 13, and you have to think about a deck of cards. Now, I hate to keep saying that, but you're talking about 3 or 4 questions on the test here. And if you don't know a deck of cards, then you better go out and buy one, or you better go look at some of the pictures and look and see what the deck of cards consist of. Okay? Always reduce your fractions. Okay? Go back. Put that down. Always reduce your fractions. Please do that, because I'd hate for you to put 13 over 52 and get it wrong, because I can't change that. Because all fractions are to be reduced, no matter what math or science you're in. I had to teach that to my son last night when he regained consciousness. All right.
Oh,
There.
Wow.
There's the 4. Now this is 4.
Wow.
Okay. Now I didn't do this one, but you might want to write this one down, because I won't test you on this, but it may be on a what?
Standardized
On a
test.
standardized test. This is 4 kids. So I'm going to give you a minute to write that down, and it'll waste a little bit more time. That's 4 kids. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So instead of 8, you got 16. And I'd probably write that question down and put it down as ST, standardized test. Now, yeah, that's right. They're asking, what is the probability of having 2 girls and 2 boys? Well, that's in the middle. Well, of course, that's 6 over 16. Now, what else do you have to do? You have to read the directions on the test and on the homework. Sometimes they ask you simplified what? Fractions. Other times they ask you for what? Decimal. So you have to read the directions on the homework and the test. Most of the time they ask for a decimal. Y'all got that down yet? Pendleton, y'all finished writing those down?
I don't think so, almost.
Easily?
No.
God, what are they doing up there? It must
Partying.
take time to travel. Miss Jeter, you live in Anderson, don't you? Don't you live?
Yeah,
Why didn't you bring us a bag of candy on your way to Pendleton?
I would have only gave it to Mr. Poor, not you.
Oh, okay. That's all right. I don't want to pop positive on, man. I saw that girl grabbing that candy a while ago. She better watch it.
Why? I didn't put nothing in. Only if it was
You only
I would have.
kept the meth. Okay. She's got one of those bags of Pop Rocks. They ain't colored. They're all white. You didn't know meth?
No, I did that in your class 2 semesters ago. I did that math. I don't do that no more.
Okay. You done switched to cocaine?
Crack.
Oh, crack.
It makes the most sense. Pop rock.
She had that crack. She had that already. It was ready to come out. Crack. What is she doing now?
Wait, you haven't.
Are you taking selfies in the class? Okay, we're going to move on. Did you want me to? You want to take a picture? There you go. You need to take a picture now.
She's dying.
She can't breathe. She's going to end up on live PD. Richland County. She's gonna go down to Columbia, and they're gonna pull her over just as soon as she hits Richland County line. They're gonna pull her over.
Into the Obama gas station that they're always
Yeah,
at.
I know. There's one down there, and she's gonna get out. And you know what she's gonna say? What'd I do? 105 with a 9mm on her side. What'd I do?
On a bag of crack rock.
Yeah, that's it. I love those guys. Well, why you chase me, man? No, chase? Why you chase me? Dumb butts. Anyway. All right. Now, see, this is the same thing. This is called relative frequency. A relative frequency, that's all it is a percentage. Okay? Number of times something has occurred over the number of times of observation. So this is when you have a deck of cards and you shuffle them, and somebody pick a card and you pick a queen. Well, the probability of picking a king is 4 out of 52. You just picked a queen, so that doesn't count. So this is physical probability. I'm not going to go over that because it's the same formula. So you just got to know one is being seen and one is actually based on mathematics. Oh, I'm not going through that. Theoretical probabilities. They're telling you basically the probabilities are not matching up to the Mayberry probability, and they're fixing to show you the law of large numbers is what they're fixing to show you. So just hold on. The relative and theoretical probabilities are fairly close. There is no reason to suspect this corner fair, but they are not equal. And they will never be equal unless you do a large number of tries. Theoretical probability is based on the mathematics. What's the probability of picking a king out of a deck of cards? 4 out of 52. You don't have a deck of cards in front of you. That's theoretical probability. What is the probability of one girl out of 2 kids? 0.5, 1/2, 2 out of 4. That you don't have babies. How do you know that? It's theoretical. Relative is the physical probability. It's based on what? Starts with an O.
Outcome.
Well, the wrong O. I'm pointing at it.
Observation.
Observations. Okay? You can say experiments or observations, it doesn't matter. Okay? All right, here's an example. I was listening to a video the other day, and this guy was talking about growing up on the farm, and him and his brother would take an ear of corn and hook a wire up to it and put it in a pig pen and hook it to the electric fence. And what would the pig do? Get electrocuted every time he hit the... So him and his brother did that for about a week. And there was several pigs in there. So they unhooked it because the father came back home. And the father tried to feed the pigs, and the pigs wouldn't eat. And then one of the brothers told them, and they both got a whipping. But what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Taking an ear of corn and putting an electric current on it, that is an experiment. Okay? Observation is just watching pigs eat and see, that's just, when you interject something into the observation, it becomes an experiment. Okay? Next.
Watch that video.
What?
I don't have to watch that video.
No. They didn't video it. They talked about doing it.
Oh, I thought you were saying.
No, they talked about it.
They just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah. That's all right. It's going to do it in 12 years. We're all going to die.
Wow.
You didn't know that? That little girl in Europe said that.
I ain't listening to what
Don't go to
she's saying.
school. Yeah, she's very uneducated. But anyway. Subjective probability. Somebody tell me what that word subjective means. Based on your feeling. Based on your feeling. Subjective. Whenever you see the word subjective, it's based on feelings.
Opinion.
Yes. What is a subjective pole? It's a pole that's manipulated to make people think a different way. That's called a subjective pole. Subjective statistics is not good. Subjective probability is not good. It's when you are trying to sway somebody based on opinion or feeling. But whenever you see the word subjective, it helps you out to know that subjective is not based on facts. It's not based on math. It's based on feeling. It's based on experience or intuition. What's another word for intuition? Feeling. What's a women's what? Women's what? Blank. Intuition. What is that? A woman's gut feeling. A woman's intuition is the same as a man's what? Gut feeling. It's the same thing. They're both feelings. So when you see the word subjective, should you really jump into it head first, or maybe be a little bit cautious?
Cautious.
Be cautious. Anything subjective is be very cautious. I am 100% certain that you'll be happy with this car. That is subjective. Why?
Based
First
on
of all, it says
intuition.
I'm 100% certain. What's wrong with 100%?
Almost nothing's 100%.
It's not
Never
possible.
promise.
Okay, it's not possible. That's like saying perfection. Now, if somebody said, I'm about 80% certain you'll be happy with this car, that's a whole lot truthful than saying 100%. That you'll be happy. Okay, what's wrong with you'll be happy?
You're not certain that they're going to be happy.
You'll be happy. Exactly. I am telling you that you're going to be what?
Happy.
Okay, this is 100% subjective. Based on government data, ding ding, the chance of dying in an automobile accident during a one year period is about 1 in 8,000. This is not subjective. This is based on data. Okay? Relative frequency. Relative frequency is based on data. Or data at the DOT, or you've gone out and you've gone to the morgue in Anderson County, and or not the morgue, but the hospital, and you ask the hospital about their death for the last year. You want that information on how many people died of heart attacks, how many people died of car wrecks, and then you actually compile the data. That's an observation. If you use their data, then you can say it's an observation or it's a relative frequency based on if you do any of the work. Okay? That's not matter right now. The probability of rolling a 7 with a 12-sided die. And we talked about that. Now look at your chart and look at a 7. There's only one in that die chart with a 12-sided die. Okay, I'm sorry, 12-sided die. That's not 2 die, that's 12-sided. That's like one of those octagon-shaped die. Y'all seen those on the games? I don't know what games. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my alarm. Let's see what the temperature is. 46 degrees. Okay, that means I got to shut up. Let's try to finish this. Theoretical probability. Theoretical because is the die going to change the numbers? No. You don't need a die. If it's got 12 sides, 7 is in there. That's theoretical. So make sure you can do this. What is this called? 1 minus an event. What did I tell you that was? Complement.
Complement.
And that's what they're going to call it. I don't know why they haven't called it complement yet, but they will. So 1 minus the event. That's the complement. Okay, they'll call it complement later, I guess. I'm going to try to finish up. Okay, we already talked about 2 die. You've got that covered. There it is. So you already got that covered. Okay, we're going to stop at odds. Okay, make sure we cover odds. We start at odds. Ms. Jeter, that's your job. Make sure you tell me Monday that we start at odds.
Okay, it's my job.
Y'all have, now, you can do 2 things. You can be lazy all weekend and not do 7A homework, or you can work with 7A homework up to the odds. That's your choices for this
You can
weekend.
just quit and be a failure.
You can
the
do
odds
that
is I'm
because Bernie will take care of you.
Yeah.